I love this movie. I went in not knowing exactly what was gonna happen, but then by the end of it, I was like, oh, how fun was it working on this film?
So much fun. You know, when I first saw District 9, I went in, somebody said, you got to see this movie. I had no idea. I wouldn't say I'm a mad sci-fi fan myself, but it blew me away. Like, in the last 10 years, that is one film that completely blew me away. And Neil is a maverick as a filmmaker. He has a way of making films that are entertaining, visually stunning, believable, breakdown between genres. I don't feel like I'm watching a science fiction movie, and yet make you think, you know, and feel.
That's what I loved about this film. I was on this, I was watching the whole thing.
My wife cried at the end of this movie.
Really?
Yeah, she was so like in love with this character, and also Yolandi, who plays the.
Oh yeah.
She was like, oh, it was sad.
How does she feel about you getting beat up a little bit in this film?
She thinks I deserve it, I think.
Yeah. What was that day like? Cause it's a lot of CGI in there too, a lot of stunt work. So what was that day like on set?
It was pretty good. I mean, it's interesting. When I'm as Wolverine, I'm on those sets. The stunt guys who I know forever, they're like, I just end up doing most of them, you know, partly because I'm there, but partly because I've always done them. And I walked onto the set, and it was interesting because they were like, oh, we've got the stuntman to do this. They were treating me like an old man, and when I saw some of the things that had to be done, I was like, oh, it's fine,
okay,
you can crash through the ceiling, you can do all that.
I love Chappie's walk. His walk was so phenomenal.
Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Sharlto just was so brilliant. You know, he has to wear like a grey suit, but he actually wore these pants hanging down halfway down his ass, just so he could get that walk.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Was that your gangster walk? Because you had the gangster walk pretty down.
Dude, here's the thing about the gangster thing, okay? That was my biggest fear, because as you would know, as everyone knows, gangster clothing is not skin-tight leotards. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the opposite. It's loose-fitting stuff, usually, in every gangster culture around the world. So I thought, how am I going to do that? And I tested different things, and I ended up just with the most important thing that I needed was a pair of shorts that I wore over my grey, tight-fitting leotard. They still had to be tight-fitting, but I had a belt, and I could loosen my pants, and I could ride them down my backside.
Isn't that uncomfortable?
I swear, no, dude. It was just what I needed to get the walk, so whenever you see him do the gangster thing, it's me with the shorts riding down the backside a little bit, and this belt that I could kind of, keep coming back to the kind of central kind of groin area.
Chappie gets to throw blows with Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
What was that day like getting to, interact with him?
It was amazing. I mean, I had originally thought that I was gonna get away with not doing a lot of the action myself, and because you're not gonna see me. But it was the opposite. When we did the test, we realized that the movements were so specific. His walk became it was such a focus on every movement that as soon as you got a stunt guy and they were drawing over the stunt guy, you could very quickly see, more so than you would in a normal film, like, well, something's off now. He seems, so I ended up doing an enormous amount of my own stuff for that reason.
You were a boss of like all bosses in this movie.
Well, thank you.
That's pretty cool. How fun was it getting to see Sharlto do his little thing as Chappie?
He's so amazing.
Yeah.
He's so amazing, And God bless performance capture, because I don't know how you could do this without a human soul inside, It reminded me a little of The Wizard of Oz, But no, I mean, that's why I jumped at the chance to do the movie. To work with Neil, whose work I so admired after District 9, Elysium. To work with Sharlto, who's amazing.
Yeah.
And Hugh and Dev. It was just one of those dream jobs.
If you could have a robot who had real thoughts, would you want that? Would that be something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you think the world needs that?
I once went to the Microsoft Home of the Future, and one of the things they had was like, it wasn't a robot, it was like holograms that would remind, if you had an elderly parent, remind the elderly parent with lights and things like that to take different medications, to eat different things, and then they would somehow send a message to you on the other coast that your mother had taken this pill. There were all these things technologically that I thought would really take emotional burdens off people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like robots would be great caregivers. Yeah. If you're a latchkey kid and you go home and your robots put, cookies and milk out, and our society is changing, and I don't think robots are a bad change. Yeah. It depends on how they're programmed. Mm-hmm. and we should welcome them.